Good afternoon, everybody watching today live at the waterhole starting here in Etosha National Park over in Nguma. We have three big elephant bulls that look like they're enjoying their Monday so far, I must say. Coming down for a bit of a drink, maybe a bit of a splish and a splash just to cool down after a hot day in Namibia. So my name is Kerry Dupree, folks, and it is a pleasure to join you today live at the Waterhole. Really excited to see what wildlife we come across today at all of our different cameras all over Africa. So just a reminder that if you'd like to send in your questions, comments, join in the show, send me some birding questions or any other wildlife related questions, please feel free to scan the QR code on screen, head across to our Twitter or YouTube and use the hashtag at WildEarth to let me know how your Monday is going, anything in particular you would like to see, and or anything exciting from the live drives that you might be wanting to share with us today. Really excited to see what comes across. So we had pretty epic sighting here in Nguma over in Etosha National Park in Namibia. Yesterday we had 5 lions, so 4 lionesses and 1 big beautiful male desert lion at this exact location. Unfortunately today they seem to have moved off, not much lion activity here. But these elephant bulls are definitely enjoying themselves. We have some white-browed sparrow weavers vocalizing in the background, and I'm keen to stay on my birding train that I've been on. So yeah, I've just come back from safari in Zimbabwe, and we did a lot of birding. Had a few big birding days. It was actually the big birding day a few weeks ago. So I'm going to be taking a list of all the birds that we can see and hear today. So please feel free to send through any birds that I might have missed at some of our locations. I know we have some viewers that are big birders, and you might be a little bit sharper on some of your bird calls than I might be in some of these remote locations. So coming in at number 1, I'm going to put down this white-browed sparrow weaver that's calling here. Let's have a listen to the cicadas calling in the background. Maybe we also can pick up on a few more bird calls. Let's have a listen to what's out there. Looks like these 3 elephant bulls are having a great day. Must say temperatures are climbing over certain parts of southern Africa. If you are not in Africa at the moment, I can definitely tell you this, that the temperatures are definitely quite warm in some areas. Oop, we've got another bird there. Look, we've got some marabou storks. They were also here yesterday, so nice to see they're still around. Also hanging out, maybe preying off of some fish that might be exposed in this watering hole as it dries out. Also have some springbok as well as a black Smith plover. So it was quite interesting yesterday afternoon. We had the lionesses that were lying underneath this tree on the left-hand side. So they definitely were enjoying their Sunday siesta time. So all the antelope in the area. So there was some blue wildebeest that wanted to come down to have a drink, as well as a giraffe and these 4 springbok that were all a little bit nervous to come down for a drink while there's three female lions or lionesses lying so close to the water, as well as one big male. So yeah, it was quite awesome. They definitely kept us pretty well entertained yesterday. Every now and then, when one of the lionesses would move about, it'd give all the wildebeest a very big fright and they would take off in different directions. So thank you for all of our viewers that are joining us. We have a few viewers that sending through the comments. So Fuzzy Dunlop, thank you for joining us on this Monday. I hope you're having a fabulous Monday. A happy Monday for sure. Nice and hot. Hot Monday. Frank M, lovely to see this waterhole. I agree with you there. Ngoma can be a nice addition to the rest of the African cameras that we have. Nice. It's been quite busy, lots of activity lately, and the camera seems stable, so we've been pretty lucky there, I must say. And Ben is asking a question about when did I become interested in birds? So Ben, I started guiding in 2014 was when I did my FADASA course through eco training. Of course, I was always pretty interested in birds from that stage. But I guess, yeah, birding has always been an interest of mine. But I guess I became quite big into bird lassoing and e-birding and recording birds probably in South Africa in 2019, I would say. Yeah, it's great when you have a good guiding team with lots of guides interested in birds and you go out and spend time recording birds, learning about birds, and then once that birding bug bites, you have definitely been infected, and birding will kind of at some stage take over your life. So please be careful. Birding definitely is an addiction. Yeah, I know some crazy birders that can bird non-stop for 24 hours. No eating, no drinking. It's all about birds. No animals, only birds. Oops, let's watch this elephant bull as he has a nice swim. Lovely watching these big elephant bulls here in Namibia swimming and cooling themselves off in the mud. I must say, after a long hot day, I'd also be rather excited to get into the mud. So elephants will use swimming as a way of cooling themselves down. They love to mud bath, and it can be a very good way to protect their skin from the sun, as well as a good anti-parasitic. So they'll spray themselves with that mud, and when they go and rub off on a tree, it can help get rid of any unwanted parasites. Yeah, looks like we've got four big elephant bulls here. A lot of people do say in Namibia it's incredible how large-bodied the elephants are, the desert elephants are in Namibia. But it's interesting how very little their tusks are. So I think it has something to do with a mineral deficiency or lacking of minerals, and also because of the extreme heat, their tusks do crack quite a lot more frequently than those elephants in southern Africa. So yeah, Namibian elephants, very big bodies, but very short, stumpy little tusks. Sanjeev Roy, I agree with you there. There's a little elephant conference happening here. We were talking about birds and what birds would be cool to see in Namibia. So I did mention a list of birds yesterday, but another cool bird we can also look out for in Namibia is the northern black coron. A very cool bird. The male is quite a striking color, very black in color. It has these white cheeks and a reddish bill with yellow legs. So very cool bird to also keep a lookout for in Namibia, the northern black coron. While we are on the topic of elephants, I know there's a big debate about what is going to happen with this female elephant in the Knysna Forest, so on the part of the Garden Route National Park in South Africa. It was once home to 1,000 elephants, which did historically roam between this forest and fynbos. As now kind of, yeah, populations have dwindled, and it was thought for many years that there were no elephants left within this area, but there is actually one female elephant that still does reside in these forests, and there's a lot of debate about what they should do with this elephant, relocate her, move more elephants back. So I know that keeps popping up on my news feed. It'll be interesting to see what happens to this female elephant that is left there in the Knysna forest. Imagine a forest elephant in southern Africa. Again, she is a savanna bush elephant, just trying to survive in the forested regions. Yeah, very cool to see that they're getting some more footage of her, and she seems to be thriving, but I'm sure she must be pretty lonely in the forest there all by herself. We got a Corey Busted, folks, on the left hand side. Check at that. Corey Busted just walking behind that thick tree there. How cool! See him just coming out into the open here. The largest flying bird in the world, Corey Busted. Massive bird, isn't he cool? I know in some regions males are doing their mating displays at the moment, so this must be a female. I saw recently a few males in Wangi National Park also doing a bit of a mating display. So really cool to see a Corey Busted, another cool bird to add to our list of birds for the day. So these Cory bustards do reside in semi-arid regions, kind of open grasslands and savannas, lots of shrubs. Generally, they will be or kind of single or in pairs, and they do feed on plant matter, large insects, and as well as small invertebrates. So they do fly quite low and flap with a kind of slow, shallow wing beat. They're incredible avian birds, great at flying from different grasslands to one grassland to the next. Check out those long legs. I do have a call for this Corey Busted here on my phone, so I'm going to play it for you. I'm really enjoying using this Newman's bird app, so I'm just going to play this call of the Corey Busted for you. It's a pretty cool sound, very unusual for a bird, I must say. quite a difficult sound to hear. I'm not sure if anything came across there. But yeah, very cool to see this Corey bustard. So they do make a very interesting hooping or drumming sound early hours of the morning. So if you're ever in the bush and you're not too sure, some people say it is similar to that of a leopard's call. But yeah, very cool to hear them vocalizing like that in the morning. They are a common resident and obviously identified by that huge size and obviously the crest on their head that they have. The males during the breeding season kind of have very thick necks and puff up their feathers quite a lot in order to attract the females. How cool. Gory busted. The males are slightly larger than the females, about 20% larger, but it is kind of difficult to see the size difference unless you actually see them together. So it'll generally be a male on his own, or at times you can find a male and a female together. Very cool bird to start off our birding day. So these Corey bustards can be easily confused with the Ludwig's bustard and the Denham's bustard as well. Perfect habitat for this Corey bustard. He must be living his dream. So they're used to being in very remote grassland areas without much water. So they're not a water dependent species. So, Catherine, good question there. So, we were talking earlier about elephants and the last elephant in the Neisner forest. And Catherine's question is about will a herd accept her as a related elephant if they can try to relocate her? It's quite an interesting question. Again, she is still an African bush elephant, this elephant occurring in the Neisner forests. I think the best plan would be to relocate another family unit. Obviously, it depends on how much space they do have within that forest. If there's enough space to relocate another family of elephants into that forest, because obviously she knows that area pretty well, should make a very good matriarch, and she would obviously be the one to lead any other elephants that were in the area or did find themselves in the area to water sources, good feeding areas, grazing areas. So, yeah, again, I think it would be a good idea to reintroduce another family of elephants into that area, and she would act as the matriarch. But the problem is you'd need to have a family of elephants that, again, the matriarch is not too dominant, because if you reintroduce a new matriarch, within the small family unit, what might happen is they might not even associate themselves with one another. They might just completely disappear in opposite directions and not even adopt her within a family group. Or the kind of discussions, there have been a lot of discussions whether she should be moved to a new area and join up with a new breeding herd. So yeah, a lot of kind of research has been put into that, a lot of discussions to see what should happen with this last rhino, last elephant. Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see how that kind of transpires. But yeah, maybe if there's a kind of family unit of elephants that's lost within a different region as close by as possible, or yeah, but might be interesting to reintroduce them to her and see if she could imprint onto a new family. Yeah, so wishing them all the best of luck. I know Sandparks is obviously doing a lot of studies on this issue and trying to see what the best way forward is there. I remember many years ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago, when I think the first people to capture the footage of this forest elephant, or the elephant in the Neisner forest, were some just people. I'm not sure if they were construction kind of team that were moving through the area, and they took videos of this elephant in the road, and elephants had not been seen there for a very long time. So very interesting to kind of capture that. Now they've put out camera traps, so they're trying to monitor this elephant as best as they can, see if they can get as much information about her age, kind of how her health is, and see what the way forward would be for this elephant. Luckily, these elephant bulls don't have to worry about that. They're perfectly happy in their natural environment. Lots of friends, lots of other bulls around, and of course, lots of females for breeding. A bit of jousting and dominance display there with these bulls. Always interesting to watch elephants interacting with one another. Kind of wish you could hear them speaking to each other. Yeah, what they're saying, how they're communicating. So they do use many forms of communication, elephants, not just um, physical, but obviously, yeah, sound, touch, and of course, all the seismic communication that they get through their feet. So the low bellowed rumblings and grumblings. Righty, well, looks like these elephant bulls are having a great time. Why don't we go and check out Hyena Pan over in Botswana, see what's happening at one of our other locations. Alrighty. Looks like we've got elephants are going to be our flavor of the day. Lots of elephant activity. Nice big elephant. It looks like an elephant bull, though it could be a very old cow. So yeah, it's quite rare to see an elephant cow on her own, although this time of year you are seeing a lot of individuals on their own that might not be able to keep up with the rest of a herd. Unfortunately, lots of countries like Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Botswana, this is the time of year where you might find a lot of elephants dying yeah, due to old age, not enough food, starvation, and the drought. So it could be an old cow. It's kind of on her own. Maybe could not keep up with the rest of her herd. Yeah, come down to Hyena Pan for a bit of a swim. Looks like we might have another elephant on the left here. Oh, there we go. It looks like we've got quite a few individuals here, some big bulls as well. I'm not surprised all the elephants are congregating around the watering holes, looking for some water to drink. Oh, looks like this elephant is actually missing a part of her trunk. Shame. This elephant does look rather old, I must say. So often the elephants can get their trunks either, yeah, caught in snares, and they do have a chance of losing the tips of their trunk. Or I have quite often seen lions will also be quite a big hazard to elephants, and at times can even, yeah, attack little baby elephants and often go for the tails and the trunks. Shame this female. Is it a bull? Is it a cow? It's not looking so good. The other very nice bulls here at Hyena Pan. What a lovely location. One of the bulls on the left hand side here has quite a wide set of tusks. Perfect for bashing the wild date palm trees, getting some fruit down. Elephants can be quite fussy when it comes to water. Often like to get their water from the main source where the water is the cleanest. Probably what this bull is doing right here. Oh, it looks like he's got a bit of a broken tusk on the left-hand side. Could be from a fight with another elephant bull. Could be while trying to push down trees, or sometimes young elephant bulls will also kind of attack trees as a way of asserting their dominance or showing how kind of strong they are. Oh, lots of elephants here at Hyena Pan today. Let's have a scope and see if we can see if we can see any birds or hear any birds. Alrighty, folks. Why don't we go and check out Tembe Elephant Park, see what's happening. If we've got some more elephants on one of our other locations over in Tembe in South Africa. Oh, so it looks like we've got lots happening here at Tembe Elephant Park in Maputoland, South Africa. We had a Cape Starling that was calling. Earlier at over in Hyena Pan. So we're just keeping a bird list for the day. See how many birds we can get. We got some elephants. We have also got some impala, nice male impala or ram, and some females. I've got some very excited warthogs. We've also got some white-faced whistling ducks down at the watering hole. I think I saw a hardy-dar ibis calling. African jacana. There's a cuckoo calling. I wonder if we can do a poll or send out a question to our viewers to ask if anyone knows what that cuckoo that's calling in the background is. Just keep a listen out. You'll hear this cuckoo calling. It's one of the cuckoos. There's our African toucana, another bird to add to our list. Tembe has been very busy yesterday. We also had a lot of activity, elephants, impala, nyala. We've got the masked weavers that we can listen out for. So on a big birding day, there's all these different habitats which are good to hit as many as possible. You want to get as many bird species as you can. So yeah, looks like we've got some barn swallows also flying around, possibly coming down for a drink or hawking insects above the water. Also here a dark-capped bulbul. So our cuckoo seems to have stopped calling. But let me see if I can find it on my app, and I will play the call for you. Love the sound of those white-faced whistling ducks. Glad to see that they're still around. They were also with us yesterday. Here we go. Okay, I've got the call of this cuckoo that was vocalizing earlier. It's also one of the migrants, so pretty cool to hear them calling already. I'm going to give this cuckoo a bit of a play for you, and let's see if any of our viewers can answer which cuckoo this is. Here we go. I've put the cuckoo down on the list, but I'd love to see if any of our viewers have any idea which cuckoo was calling. Looks like we've got some activity at one of our other locations at Tower Lodge, folks. So while I give you some time to think about the cuckoo, let's head over to Tower Lodge, see what else we can get over in Tower. Okay, so we've got a little baby elephant that's in the mud right next to this crocodile here. I think the elephant might be a little bit too big for the crocodile to bother trying to do anything, but quite cool to see. Have a watch, see if anything happens. It would definitely be a rather brave crocodile if he tried to take out this elephant. Patience, patience, patience. Crocodiles do have a lot of patience while hunting, so they will hang out in the water like that, hidden and conceal themselves as best as possible so they can hold their breaths for very long periods. Baby elephant is being quite brazen, I must say, because all that crocodile has to do is grab onto that baby elephant's trunk, pull him into the water or into the mud, and then they hold their prey underwater until they manage to suffocate their prey, and then they start feeding on the carcass by using the death roll to rip off pieces of meat. There he goes down. Of course, this time of year we are having in different regions a lot of elephants dropping, little baby elephants being born. And a smaller elephant, I wouldn't put it past a crocodile to go for a smaller elephant, but this elephant looks like he's probably just hitting on just over a year. Doesn't look like he has any tusks just yet, but yeah, I think it's a little bit too big for that crocodile. And of course, the female and cow mother elephant is right there, and I wouldn't want to mess with a female elephant. Got some awesome to see some zebra in the background there. Often they'll stand in the heat of the day like this in each other's shadows to try and get out of the sun. Birds calling. We have got some blue waxbills. I did hear a red-rumped tinkerbird calling just now, and I think we also have a rattling testicular, as well as some buffalo weavers calling in the background. Let's have a listen. So apparently this little baby elephant was swimming right next to that crocodile, and everyone was getting a little bit nervous, wondering what's going to happen, Is this little baby elephant going to get attacked by the crocodile? Maybe it wasn't the crocodile's day, or maybe he thought he was biting off a little bit more than he could chew. So yeah, this muddy watering hole here at Tower Lodge has definitely been shrinking as the days and weeks go by. Not much water here. Especially for the crocodiles, I wonder if at some stage they would have to move to another pan. It's not going to be much water left for them. Obviously, crocodiles do need to be quite strategic in that they need to make sure they move to a new watering hole before the watering hole that they're residing in dries up. Because, one, they don't want to get stuck in that mud, and two, they still need to be able to have water to live in, and also for hunting purposes. It makes hunting very difficult for a crocodile if there's not enough water to conceal his body to hide himself. So it looks like there's an elephant actually lying on his belly just behind these two elephants there. What is happening there? One elephant just lying down in the mud. And the spur fowls vocalizing there in the background. Oh, we've got some yellow-billed ducks. Have a look at those yellow-billed ducks. Isn't that cool? Obviously, it's not too dry for them. They're still having a great time. Two yellow-billed ducks. Yeah, also look at this elephant. He's giving himself a really nice scratch. Oh, isn't it awesome watching these elephants enjoying this mud? It sounded like a red-billed spurfowl that was vocalizing earlier. Kind of within range. So yeah, the red-billed spurfowl that was calling. Nice to see those yellow-billed ducks. Oh, look at this elephant just sticking his head in the mud. Ah, he's having such a good time. Gotta get all those itches and enjoy the mud as much as possible. So these sandbanks on the edges of watering holes do provide a lovely rubbing post for elephants while they're enjoying the mud. For getting to all those itches and scratches on their side. So folks, please send through your comments about the bird, the cuckoo that was vocalizing. If anyone has any idea which cuckoo it was that was vocalizing, please feel free to send through. I'd love to see if we've got any birders out there that might have any idea. I can give you a bit of a clue. So he does have a bit of an emerald color to him and a red eye. So the cuckoo I'm looking for is a green emerald coloration with white and a bit of a red eye. Well done, Catherine. Diedrich's cuckoo it is. Nice, nice, nice. So often Diedrich's cuckoos can be very easily confused with Klaas's cuckoo. So yeah, very awesome to see them that the cuckoos have come through. So it is a common summer resident, the Diedrich's cuckoo, and both sexes do differ from the male Klaas's cuckoo in having a white markings before and behind the eyes. They have a lot more white on their heads as opposed to the Klaas's. And the immatures or juveniles do have a coral red beak. So yeah, welcome back to the cuckoos. They've traveled quite a distance to get back to the area just before the rainy season arrives. And they are a brood parasite, meaning that the cuckoos, a lot of the cuckoos do actually lay their eggs in other birds' nests. So they do parasitize weavers, bishops, and sparrows. So they can often be seen chased off by weavers. It's really cool, these brood parasites. They can actually lay their eggs to the same color of their host bird. So, for example, if this cuckoo wanted to lay his egg inside a weaver's nest, they can actually try to camouflage the eggs by making sure the egg is the same color as the host species. And then what happens with these brood parasites is then obviously their egg will hatch and the cuckoo's chick will be a lot bigger than the chicks of the host species, and the cuckoo will actually throw out the other chicks from the nest so that it's the only one receiving food. And the host parents will actually continue to feed this chick even though he's much bigger and looks different to their own chick. So quite cool about brood parasites. Thank you, Catherine, for your answer on the cuckoo there. Really cool. Diedrich's cuckoo. So Tau, just like over Tau Lodge over in Madikwe, just like a lot of the regions in Africa, desperate for some rains. It's been quite dry at this location here for quite some time, I must say. So we've been surely very desperate to get some rains. There was a few drops of rain here in Johannesburg last night, but nothing to get too excited about. With this heat, it is rather unbearable, difficult to sleep at night. So yeah, we are all praying for some good rains this year. This little baby elephant is taking advantage of this beautiful old fallen down leadwood tree as a scratching post. Looked like he was quite itchy behind his ear there. So I do love these rubbing posts. It's always awesome to kind of give them a feel and see how many animals have rubbed themselves, how smooth all these trees and rubbing posts become from being utilized by hundreds and thousands of elephants every year. Lots of nice fresh green vegetation on the water here. I know lots of animals have been seeking this green vegetation. Water bucks, we've had water buck on these islands. Even the elephants have been going over there trying to feed on the green vegetation that's left behind. So we have some Egyptian geese just down to the left. Doing pretty well on our bird list for today, I must say. We're already hitting 18 different bird species. So not bad for 45 minutes. Yeah, in this kind of aquatic environment, what we can look out for is all of our water birds. Nice grey heron. Lovely grey heron there. Awesome to see a grey heron. He seems to be hanging out here quite a bit. He was in his breeding plumage about a month ago. We also look out for our black crake. There's a few black crakes that hang out here. Common moorhens, three-banded plovers, any sandpipers. It'd also be cool to see a couple of sandpipers. There have also been some spur-winged geese that have kind of been frequenting this pan, but I haven't seen a spur-winged goose for a while here. But yeah, kind of all your aquatic water birds would be very cool. Shame this this grey heron is looking like he had a really bad weekend. I think he's not doing too well for his Monday. He looks rather tired. He's actually sitting down on his haunches, having a bit of a mid-morning or midday nap. So we're just going to have a bit of a scan, see if we can pick up on any more birds for the day. Doing pretty well on our bird list. I think my record so far on Live at the Waterhole for birds was about, I think I managed to get to almost 35, 36 species in one kind of Live at the Waterhole session. So yeah, if I could hit 40 bird species in one Live at the Waterhole, I think I'll be pretty chuffed. Depending on the kind of ecosystems you hit, you can pick up quite a lot of birds. Make for a nice birding list. Where is our black crake hanging out? So good question, Lira. So yeah, what do we have here? Oh, warthogs. Hello, warthogs also coming down to join the mud party. We've got some blacksmith plovers there. We've already got blacksmith plovers on our list, but always cool to take some time to appreciate all the birds. So yeah, good question about the cuckoo. So what the cuckoos will actually do is they'll sit and monitor and watch the kind of nest that they want to parasitize, their host's nest, and kind of wait for a perfect opportune moment to sneak into the nest when the host is away. Oh, looks like we have a common myna or Indian myna to the left of our screen there. Not my favorite birds, but we'll still put him on the list. So yeah, the cuckoo they'll wait for the host parents to leave the nest before they sneak into the nest and lay their eggs within the nest. So yeah, they're pretty sneaky. The chicks of the cuckoos are often born with that little what's it called, an egg, like a egg tooth. So it's almost like how little crocodiles are born with a little piece of like a little kind of like a little spike on the end of their nose, and that helps them to break their way out of the egg. So same goes for the cuckoos. So they're born with a little like egg tooth that's on the top of their bill, and they actually use that tooth to help them to throw the chicks or the eggs of their host species out of the nest. The cuckoo chick, as soon as it hatches, will try to get rid of any eggs or other chicks within the nest. That's quite a harsh world if you are a host species for the cuckoo, I must say. Blacksmith lover is busy on his mission looking for some little insects. So Spasiankov, thank you for your bird question. What birds would I still like to see on live at the waterhole? So I know I have seen that northern black korhan before in Namibia, but that would be a pretty cool bird to see on live at the waterhole. Aldonio, I've had really awesome sightings of secretary birds there, so that's pretty cool as well. But yeah, I think I'd definitely have to go with that northern black coron. Spasiankov, I'd love you to send through your comments of what bird would you like to see on live at the waterhole. So often if you're lassoing or looking for birds, you would find out what habitat they generally occur in and at what time of the day are they most active. So that's a good way to search for the bird that you are looking for. Looks like our grey heron has become a bit more mobile, ready to take on the Monday, or maybe not. Looks like he has some serious Monday blues, this heron, I must say. So it's quite cool to see him from this angle. You can see on his chest there, that's when during the breeding season he will get all this very fluffy, fully, almost silk looking long trail feathers. There we go, you can see a few of them are still left from the previous breeding season. And yeah, that is kind of his way of attracting a female. So I am busy using my new Newman's Bird app. If you would like to, yeah, download or purchase the Newman's Bird app, I really do recommend it. It's got some amazing drawings as well as pictures. You get your maps, your vocalizations, the calls of the birds, as well as information as well. So very useful. I'm really enjoying playing around with my Newman's Bird app. Please head across to the Wild Earth website to find the discount code, or you can also locate it on my Instagram to get a discount on the Newman's Bird app. Definitely worth every penny. Yeah, very useful educational tool. It can also show you the difference between adult and juvenile birds as well, which is quite helpful. Whoop, looks like we have a little three-banded plover. What do we have? There's some birds just up there to the left. Some jippos or Egyptian geese hanging out. They're also dying to have their breeding season come. Egyptian geese will feed on kind of grass seeds as well as some aquatic plants as well. They do feed quite a lot on grass as well. There are some birds that flew in just to our left. We'll have a scan there just now, see what that was. It could either be some three-banded plovers or possibly sandpipers. So thank you for your comment, Fee Vijay Olsen. You would like to see a white stork. I'd love to see a saddlebill stork. Well, actually, no, I think we've already seen saddlebill stork at the Gowrie Dam over in Juma in the Sabi Sands. That's pretty cool. We've had them on live at the waterhole before. Big birds of prey are also very cool to see as well. Love to see like a martial eagle would be awesome, or crowned eagle would be pretty cool to see on live at the waterhole. I have seen them before, but still pretty exciting. Nice big male waterbuck there. Oop, what do we have? Oh, hummercup. Hello, Mr. Hummercup. Another cool bird to add to our list for the day. Love watching hummercups feeding. They are also known as the DJ bird because the way they feed, they'll kind of have their feet in the water and kind of swish their feet from side to side, and that is kind of a distraction display that they use to kind of startle and distract the fish while they hunt. I think we have our sandpiper coming through here. Let's have a look. What is he? Possibly a sandpiper. Common sandpipers are either your marsh sandpiper, green sandpiper, or wood sandpiper. Yeah, it's quite easy to get confused between the sandpipers and a green shank. But the green shanks are a lot bigger in size, and their bills generally tend to be quite long and eventually point upwards as well. So, yeah, I think that looked like a sandpiper, a wood sandpiper. One of the most common sandpipers you would find in Africa. There we go. Hello, little sandpiper friend. Yeah, so you can see that narrow bill that he has there. Should have yellow legs, a white underbelly, kind of mottledy brown and white, brown with white barring on the wing. Just have to confirm with his bill. Yep, looks like a sandpiper to me. So, yeah, always make sure you double check. Sandpiper and green shank can be very similar. And of course, this habitat is very much favorable for both of those species. They do prefer kind of shallow inland water or flooded grasslands. You can also get them in coastal estuaries. I'm going to play the call of the wood sandpiper for you. I'm sure it will be familiar if you've been on safari a few times. Yeah, very common sound that you can hear around watering holes. I'm sure you've heard it before at some stage, and this is a call that I've just played for you from the Newman's Bird app. Oh, there we go. There's our moorhen. Hello. Say hello to our common moorhen, everyone. Another cool bird to put onto our list. Isn't he pretty? Dark jet black with that red cask on his forehead. I will play the sound of this moorhen for you as well. There we go. Looks like we've got some zebra coming down for a bit of a drink. So the common moorhen is a resident, so it is a bit larger than the lesser moorhen, and obviously it has that bright red bill, with a slight yellow tip to the end, and it has that red frontal shield. Pretty cool. It must be, it's pretty muddy because generally the legs are yellow, but you can see obviously with all the mud they've been roaming around in, it's changed its leg color a bit. And they do also frequent dams, pans, as well as quiet river systems. They do also love to be in reed beds, so generally they're quite hidden. You often hear the call before you actually see them. But they do also swim in open areas, in open water. And they'll often feed on kind of the open vegetation near water systems, flays, and marshlands. So they'll be feeding on pieces of grass and vegetation as well as small insects. A very pretty bird to photograph if you're ever sitting at a pan or a watering hole. Sometimes my time gets taken up by sitting taking photos of all the bird life. Sandy Franklin 69, welcome to Live at the Waterhole. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you are having a fabulous Monday so far. We are really enjoying ourselves today with some amazing birding. We are sitting at 23 bird species today so far, so I think we're doing pretty well. Had some great elephant pool parties at most of our locations. Yeah, the other wildlife's been pretty amazing. Some nice zebra here at Tower Lodge, as well as some waterbuck, and maybe if we're lucky, some wildebeest come down to drink later. Why don't we just have a bit of a quiet moment, folks, to watch the bird life, listen out for any animals, and maybe have a bit of a scan to see if there's any other wildlife in the area. Alrighty, folks. Well, why don't we head back across to Hyena Pan, see if we can pick up on some new birds there, and also see what's happening with our elephants over in Botswana at Hyena Pan. Oh, shucks. Oh, shucks, folks. Looks like that elephant we saw here earlier might have just passed away in the pan. Oh, shame. We saw this very sickly looking elephant earlier. She doesn't look like she did not look like she was in too good condition. It looks like she's actually just could be passing away in the pan. Shame. She wasn't looking so great. Yeah, definitely had a bit of a limp. So, unfortunately, folks, this is one of the harsh realities of nature, is that survival of the fittest. And as I mentioned, this time of year, oh, oh, she's still alive. That's good. I hope she's going to be okay. She better get out of that water. So she looked like she was really struggling in the mud there, so I hope she hasn't slipped into the pan here and not able to get out. So fingers crossed, hopefully she makes it, but she's not looking like she's in the best condition, I must say. It does look like an old female elephant. She looks like she's had a bit of a hard life because she's got half of a tail, and her trunk does look like it has been either maybe caught in a snare or possibly taken off by hyenas maybe when she was younger. So yeah, this poor old girl looks rather tired, I must say. She hasn't moved far from where she was earlier. Very hard time for a lot of elephants at this time of the year with the drought. Rainy season is just around the corner. So yeah, I did also see quite a lot of dead elephants on my last safari. Not as much as this time last year, but definitely testing time for a lot of these big giants of the bush. Those Cape starlings calling in the background there. She kind of just looks like she's in the water, giving a bit of a breath every now and then. Oh, poor old girl. So Hyena Pan is a great location to stay, I must say. Went to visit Hyena Pan earlier in the year, and this time of day in between game drives, perfect place to sit in the swimming pool, cool off, and watch, see what comes down to the pan. During the day, there are lots of elephants obviously coming by, kudu, impala, if you're lucky, some zebra. But at night, there's a lot of hyena dens in this area. And yeah, so hyena activity at this pan at night and early mornings, late evenings is, wow, surely very busy with hyenas moving up and down all over the show. Yeah, every now and then they do have some lion sightings. Great to see the lions. Also a perfect place to keep a lookout in the trees for some owls. I think I heard barred owls at Hyena Pan last time I was there. Maybe your little pearl-spotted owlet or Scops owl would be perfect to find very well camouflaged up in one of these mapani trees. Oop, we've got a visitor. It's like a blacksmith plover, blacksmith lapwing. Shame our old girl's still in the water there. Yeah, this time of the year is rather grueling. That heat in Botswana, temperatures must be rising, say mid to late 40s. Hyena Pan definitely is a place that gets quite hot, very dry in this region. Lots of beautiful mapanis, but at this time of year, not much leaves around. As you can see, all these mapani trees, not too many leaves on there. As soon as the rains come, they'll start sprouting with their leaves. Alrighty, folks, why don't we go and check what's happening over at Tau Lodge? There's not too much activity at any of our other locations, so let's go have a look at Tau Lodge and see if anything else has come to visit the pen. Oh dear, shame. Looks like we've got a dead water buck here. Poor thing. Looks very thin, not in the greatest of conditions. So yeah, this time is definitely a time for the predators. I know a lot of very fat lions around at the moment, feeding off all these dead animals that just haven't quite made the dry season. So yeah, this poor water buck looks like a juvenile. Probably it's just been really struggling to keep up with yeah, maybe the rest of his herd, and yeah, has succumbed to the pressures of the dry season. It's a really tough time, shame. Even some of these little baby elephants, I just wonder how on earth are those baby elephants going to keep up. I mean, the elephant breeding herd need to move in some areas 20, 30 kilometers a day in order to find food and water. And cow elephant needs to eat about 120 to 130 kilograms in a day in order to sustain her body weight. So, yeah, shucks. And imagine having little baby elephants that have to keep up with their mothers and the herds moving constantly. So, yeah, a lot of pressure on these animals. Oh, we've got a hammerkop has made a kill. Check, check, check. Bottom of the screen. Looks like this hammerkop has a frog. See, center bottom of the screen. Looks like he's got a frog. Oh, hammerkop made a kill. Really cool to watch this hammerkop. So hammerkop will often catch frogs that are generally way too big for them to swallow. So what he's doing now, you can see he'll kind of flick this frog around as much as possible, beating it on what it like, as much as it can to break the frog up and making it small enough for him to swallow. Check at that. Whoop! Now hammerkop just swallowed a frog. How cool is that? So yeah, hammerkops will often mostly feed on frogs, nymphs, fish. It's also a preferred diet of the hammerkop, but I think they must have some sort of French influence because they really do like frogs. Frogs is definitely one of their preferred meals. So yeah, we have some questions coming through. One from Fuller is asking, will the other elephants know that this elephant is dying possibly? So yeah, unfortunately, I think the other bull elephants that are in the area might be aware that this elephant is dying. Elephants are obviously very emotional and compassionate creatures, so they have been known to try and help one another in times like rough times. So I have seen elephants trying to help rhinos out of water troughs, help other elephants that are stuck in the mud. The other night I watched a little baby elephant that was stuck in a water trough, and the whole herd came around, of course lots of screaming and shouting, trying to help this little baby elephant out of the trough. But yeah, I don't think there's too much that the elephants will be able to do, even if they get that female elephant out of the water. I think she's, yeah, not got too much time left, unfortunately. Elephants are also very remorseful as well, so if they come across the bones or the carcass of a dead elephant, they will actually stand there for quite some time and have almost like a moment of silence. In some cases, if it's an individual or a member of their own family, they've been known to hang around in an area for days mourning the death of one of their family members. They are very, very intelligent creatures, elephants. So Spasian Carv is asking about the lions. What are the chances of seeing a lion feeding on that carcass, that Tau Lodge? I would definitely keep an eye out on this camera for the rest of the day and, of course, into the night. I've never seen any lions at Tau Lodge, but I would not be surprised if a predator does come and pick up that dead water buck. If not, by the evening, there'll definitely be hyenas and jackals that will clean it up quickly for sure. The vultures at this time of year are also enjoying the all-you-can-eat buffet of dead animals that kind of might be around. So yeah, vultures are here, there, and everywhere, and are not worried about food during this time of year. It was quite interesting. Recently, I was spent some time with some lions, and yeah, they. I could not believe the difference in 3 or 4 days in their stomachs. They were full, so full that it looked like they were almost obese. I've just been feeding on dead elephants. So yeah, very easy time for predators at the moment. Lots of food to go around. Right, let's head across to Hyena Pan and see what's happening with that elephant at Hyena Pan. So we're just coming back to this poor elephant that seems to be really struggling here at Hyena Pan. I think it looks like an old cow that is possibly on her last legs. We saw earlier in and out of the pan or out of the pan, and she was really struggling, limping quite a bit. Now, earlier we linked back across to Hyena Pan, and this poor elephant was, yeah, I thought she had already possibly died because she was just head completely buried in the water. Not much signs of life. It seems like she's trying to make her way out of the pan. It's so difficult for these elephants this time of year. If they make it to the watering holes, there's often not a lot of food near the watering holes. So they can make it to drink, but then they have to walk quite a distance in order to find places with food. So we are sending our prayers and good wishes to this poor elephant, hoping that it lives to see another day. Shame. You can see not much energy there. Definitely probably very dehydrated, exhausted, and very underweight. Yeah, so definitely a female. She doesn't look like she's got much left. I hope that she manages to make her way out of the pan. And that trunk of hers looks quite damaged. You can see her trunk's obviously not in the best condition as well. So it could be, yeah, quite difficult for her to feed, especially if she's in a poor state. Yeah, Mercedes Ben, I agree with you there. Poor old gal. So sorry, Billy. So again, I noticed it was quite unusual when we first came across this camera to see a female or an elephant cow on her own. Generally, elephant cows are always be in small family groups or a herd. But this cow has kind of been on her own here. There were a couple of other bulls around, but they seem to have left the area. But again, like I mentioned earlier, it is common this time of year to see a lot of elephant cows on their own, or even sub-adult or baby elephants really struggling. But you can see she's, I think, old age might be hitting her hard as well. So the older these elephants get, the more difficult it is to survive the hard times. You can see it was very thin, sunken in a lot on her face, as well as her rib line there, and her hips are sticking out quite a bit. So poor old Gilly. She's definitely trying to get herself out of that mud. So a lot of these elephants that then die in the pans, the lions would then, yeah, come and feed on the dead elephants. So it can take some time if they are inside a pan. But yeah. Alrighty, folks, we're gonna keep an eye on this old elephant, this poor old girl. But in the meantime, why don't we go and check what's happening over in Eldonyo in Kenya? Beautiful giraffe coming down for a drink here today. It looks like we've got some ox pickers too. So it looks like we have two female giraffe, which is really lovely. We had some males here yesterday. Could possibly just have a zoom in on those ox pickers. Just make sure we the right ox pickers. Are they yellow-billed ox pickers? Are they red-billed ox pickers? Got a ring-necked dove that's just come down to the watering hole, and our birding list is moving again. So these poor giraffe get inundated with ox pickers when they put their heads down to drink. Of course, we've got some ring-necked doves that did come down to drink there, and we're just wondering what those ox pickers are. Red-billed or yellow-billed ox pickers. Maybe if we're lucky, our wattle starling will come down, and if we're super lucky, maybe we'll get a visit from our secretary birds. Looks like we've got one of our little rainbow lizards also down in the foreground of the camera here. That's the rainbow agama, which is very common to be found in Kenya. It's got a bit of a red head. So rainbow agama or red-headed rock agama. Yeah, so what do we have? What do we have? Looks like red-billed oxpecker. So this is quite difficult to tell the difference between the two oxpeckers. Their body color is pretty much identical, except for, of course, the bill. So red-billed only has a red bill, and of course yellow-billed has a yellow and red bill. This is a beautiful female giraffe. Sorry, folks. Looks like we had some glitches on our camera there. Eldonyo signal's a little bit unstable. But we are back in Sabi Sands on Juma Private Game Reserve. Looks like we've got a beautiful male Nyala to our left, and could be a female to our right. So lovely to see these Nyala here. Have a look. The watering hole here at Juma Gauri Dam is looking rather dry, I must say. Shucks, very, very dry. Not much water left there. So a bit of an update from our location. So it seems like they had a really awesome sighting of Shalamba down at Biffles Hook Dam. She seemed to be having a nice relaxing morning in the dam while the elephants or buffalo came down to drink. So lovely to see Lalamba out and about. Also, some very interesting kind of interaction between Nene and Tortoise Pan. I think it was on the afternoon game drive yesterday. Tortoise Pan came and bumped into Nene. So obviously Tortoise Pan is Nene's father. Luckily there was kind of no interaction there. They kind of just kept each other's distance, no confrontation, and Tortoise Pan carried on doing what Tortoise Pan does best. But yeah, they of course left some very beautiful photo opportunities there. Also, very exciting that Amy and Cameron got an incredible sighting yesterday of some aardwolf with little pups inside a den. How exciting over in Mabula Private Game Reserve. Got amazing pictures. I'm super jealous. Cannot wait for my next stint on live at the waterhole and to see those aardwolf in the den. Looks like Mabula's also been busy, obviously, with rhino sightings, and of course those beautiful lions. The male lion on Mabula is quite a beautiful specimen, I must say. So yeah, a bit of an update from our locations. James Henry is also back on the drives at the moment with Paul, and I know yesterday he did spend some time with the male Incohuma lions over at Galago Pan for yesterday's sunrise safari. Look like they're all in very good health and in very good shape. So yeah, looks like the animal world is all thriving on our live drives. Let's see if we can spot any more birds to add to our birding list. Or we can also head over to Nguma and see what's roaming around there over in Namibia. Oh my goodness, we've got a jackal here in Nguma. What a very strange looking jackal. Must be a youngster. Looks like a black-backed jackal. Black-backed? Shucks. Very interesting looking jackal here. Just going to check my app quickly. Does not look like he's... shucks. Very interesting looking jackal. Possibly come down for a midday drink. I'm going to go with black-backed jackal, but of course it could be a different subspecies over in Namibia. It's got a very thin tail. It definitely has that prominent black pattern of the black-backed jackal on his back. So this could be a youngster still. Very strange sighting, I must say. Could have been following those lions that were here. So yesterday on Live at the Waterhole, we did have 5 lions here at Nguma, and jackals will often follow lions in hope of picking up on a bit of a free meal. So yes, I've got a confirmation that this is a black-backed jackal, but yeah, rather unusual looking black-backed jackal. Again, very unusual that it's got such a small tail as well. So lots happening, folks. Why don't we head back across to Hyena Pan, see what's happening with our poor elephant in the pan there over in Botswana. Oh, there we go. Looks like our elephant has managed to get herself out of the water. It's much better for her to be out of that sticky, thick mud. A lot of animals do succumb to exhaustion while stuck in the mud. So I hope that she manages to make her way to some food and possibly survive another day. So yeah, very exciting to see this female elephant out of the water. Poor old Gilly. So you can see here, I was mentioning earlier about the lacking of food around these watering holes and pans. So yeah, it's a very difficult time of the year, but maybe if she's lucky enough, the rains are just around the corner. If she can just survive a couple more weeks, she'll be lucky enough to make it another year. It's quite difficult, I can imagine, trying to feed with that very small trunk of hers. Mercedes Ben, I agree with you there. Very, very excited that our female cow elephant has managed to make her way out of the water. It's yeah, very sad to see her in that state. We saw her earlier, basically, yeah, gasping for air. But she managed to make her way up and yeah, get out of the water. So very, very exciting. We got some information coming through about that jackal earlier. So I was guessing that it could either be a juvenile, or a lot of people apparently are sending through some comments that it could be mange that this jackal, the jackal in over in Nguma in Namibia has. It's rather strange to see it without much fur on the tail. Normally black-backed jackals do have very thick, beautiful tails. So yeah, could be a sick individual that just doesn't kind of has succumbed to mange. The manges can be quite, quite a problem with animals, especially if they're sick. It does attack the immune system and, yeah, can cause them to lose quite a lot of fur, which would make a lot of sense in this case because that jackal to me looked barely recognizable. But yeah, very interesting to see jackals kind of in Namibia. So Sandy Franklin 69 is asking how old do I think this elephant is. So yeah, this elephant, she does look like she is definitely an older cow. Could be anything from about 60 to 70 years of age. She's definitely, yeah, not, she doesn't have too many years left, I would say. Yeah, and obviously the older elephants get, the harder it is to keep up with the herd and feed and kind of move from one watering hole to another. The general average lifespan of the African elephant is generally between 50 to 70 years. Some individuals have reached about 75 years of age. It's interesting that the Asian elephants kind of have a shorter lifespan than the African bush elephant, but obviously captive elephants can live to be over 70 years of age. But in the bush, I would say generally most elephants do succumb to the pressures of surviving in the wild by the ages of about 60. So this old cow, I would guess she's probably in her 60s. Yeah, she's really looking like she's in a bad way. You can compare how her body posture is and also her main dorsal spine compared to these big elephant bulls right close to us. You can see she's quite sunken in. Her posture is definitely, yeah, she's struggling a little bit. Good to see her out of the water, and hopefully it'll be a happy ending and she will live to see another day. Shame, that poor little stumpy tail of hers. She's got a few scars on her rump there as well. Could have also been from a previous attack, maybe from lions trying to bring her down. Alrighty, folks. Well, let's head back over to Nguma and check what's happening with our jackal. Right, so having a look at this jackal and kind of having a suspicion that he might be infected with some sort of mange. So you do get older individuals will often have mange or are more susceptible to getting mange because their immune systems are lower. But it's kind of a bit worrisome when you do get healthy middle-aged antelope, for example, getting mange. Like impala can be quite a indicator that there's kind of some imbalance in the environment. So mange is a skin disease which is caused by parasites or mites that affects a range of animals, which does also include predators. And it can actually lead to significant health issues and in severe cases can cause life-threatening diseases. So, mange in itself cannot kill animals, but it does attack animals with weak immune systems, which then can compromise their health in a very kind of extreme way. So, yeah, it does burrow within the skin and does cause intense itchiness, in some cases inflammatory, and of course, hair loss. So it does spread through contact. So how this individual could have gotten mange, again, is probably from other individuals. So a lot of predators do use a form, and antelope do all use a form of allo grooming, and that's how I know a lot of spread of mange, especially in like impala. Impala actually have a modified tooth which helps them to groom one another, and that can be a very good way of mange being spread from one individual to the other. But I mean, grooming is a very important social interaction, so it is necessary. But yeah, I'm gonna go with all of our viewers' comments on that and definitely say that this poor jackal does look like he has quite a severe case of mange. Doesn't look like he's in the best condition. And again, this time of year is kind of would be the peak time that a lot of individuals would start getting mange. So lions and leopards, as well as cheetah, can also be infected with mange. I've seen hyena with, again, no fur at all. But you'd be surprised how resilient a lot of predators are in that once seen a hyena, shame she looked like she'd been caught in a snare a few times. She had no fur whatsoever, covered in mange, and she just looked like she was on her last legs. The next rainy season, I saw her and I barely even recognized her. So, this little guy, I'm sure he's very resilient, and yeah, chances that he might make it through the rainy season. We do underestimate how resilient wildlife is. So, in natural kind of a yeah, in a reserve or a controlled environment, you can treat mange with medication, of course, such as ivermectin, can be a good supportive care for these animals. But it is difficult when you get animals with mange in a natural environment out in a wildlife area. Sometimes, if you interfere, it can cause other kind of domino effect within the environment. So ivermectin, if something did happen to an individual that has been treated for mange, like say for example, this jackal was treated with ivermectin and he did pass away. If anything ate the remains, they could be susceptible to then being a secondary affected by any antibiotics that you might use. So try to always keep things as natural as possible in the natural wildlife environment. But yeah, it does pose quite a big threat to predators if they do receive mange, because it can hinder their ability to hunt. Now this poor little guy doesn't look too well. He looks rather uncomfortable. He keeps like moving around from time to time. Unfortunately, the harsh reality of being on safari this time of year. I know a lot of people love to be on safari during the dry season, but these are one of the harsh realities of this dry season. Oop. You can see it's a harsh environment out there in Etosha. Shucks, very dry, salt pans in the background. Nice big elephant bulls. Oh, we've got a vulture, white-backed vulture, just to the right. Another cool bird to add to our list for the day. We are sitting on 26 birds for today at live at the waterhole. Not a bad number. Pretty cool birds in there. We also have those white-browed sparrow weavers that we've already added to our list. These two elephant bulls look rather lethargic and probably come down for a drink. Now trying to sum up some energy to head back out there, look for some more food. Marabou stork still around. Again, this time of year is a great time for marabou storks. They'll also be benefiting from all the fish that are trapped in the dried up pools and pans all over the place. Marabou stork, very obviously notorious for being scavengers, but they are also actually very good at hunting fish in small puddles of water. Probably the closest water source anywhere nearby. That's probably why our white-backed vultures come in for a drink as well. Oh, yeah. Marabous are all having a great grooming session here. It's quite unique, these marabou storks. They're very indicative and occur mostly in sub-Saharan Africa, and they are known for their very large appearance and bald heads. This naked pinkish neck, not the most attractive looking of all the birds, I must say. Definitely something only mother could love. They do have a wingspan of up to 3.7 meters or 12 feet, which makes it one of the largest wingspans of any bird alive. Pretty cool, largest wingspan. So today we've had two pretty epic birds, marabou stork with the largest wingspan and the Kori bustard, which is the largest flying bird in the world. Pretty cool. Their diet will consist of not just obviously scavenging, but they do feed on fish, any kind of dead animals or scraps that might be kind of lying around. But they will hunt from time to time. So fish, insects, frogs, small birds can also be consumed by hunting. Oh, we've got some wildebeest in the background there, also hiding in the shade. See the elephant feeding on this pushed over acacia tree, trying to get as much nutrient out of those bark as possible. They'll grab those branches, break them, and put them in his mouth. And all he's going for is mainly the bark. So the cambium layer is what he's really looking for. Get as much of the nutrients out of that bark. They're dying. I'm sure these elephants are dying for the rains to arrive so they can also be able to feed on some nice soft grass. Beautiful big bull. Incredible how strong these elephants are that they can push these trees over. Poor acacia trees just being munched on. So we have got a question here from Dark Main Lover asking about where did mange originate from and is there a cure for this skin disease? So as mentioned earlier, so mange is obviously caused by various of species of parasite mites, and it's most common in kind of regions with it's kind of a being oh, I don't know how do you explain that? So it's kind of adapted over. Oh, there's our white-backed vulture. Evolved over millions and millions of years, and kind of the origin could be a symbiotic relationship between lots of different animals, and it could be a parasite. So it was a fossil evidence suggests that mange has been present since the early semiotic era, so over 65 million years ago. So original origin of mange. It has been around for many, many years, and it has evolved this mange might to be kind of very specific to certain hosts within different areas. I also have a feeling that it does have to do a lot with domestic animals and wildlife coming into contact with another. And that's how it has become more widespread over the years. So, yeah, today mange can be found worldwide and it does affect many different animal species. And yeah, it's very difficult to control it in a natural environment. The treatment of mange, obviously, you can treat mange in your domestic animals, domestic pets. It can be treated very easily with some creams or powders, as well as a very strong antibiotic, or even using some ivermectin as well can use to treat it. But yeah, in wild animals, it is a bit more difficult to treat mange because you don't want to introduce anything unnatural into the ecosystem. So yeah, it is a bit of a difficult one. I know, for example, with impala, the best way to treat mange if you have an outbreak with mange in impala is it can be an indicator that one, your populations are too high for the area, so you can try to control your populations a bit better. And two, you can obviously try to eliminate those individuals with mange. Sorry, folks. Looks like we had some camera difficulties over in Ngoma. So we have moved over to Olifants River over in South Africa. Got a lovely female impala munching away here, as well as an elephant bull also trying to find some lunch. Lovely shady trees here on this riverbed. So Carol is asking if elephants can get mange. So apparently elephants can get mange, but it's a very rare case to find an elephant with mange. But if elephants do come into contact with an individual that is infected with mange, they can also get mange, but it won't affect them as severely as it would with your thin-skinned animals like impala or like your predators, for example. So yeah, it's not as much of a problem in elephants as it is in smaller, thin-skinned animals. So yeah, just again on the treatment of mange. So you, of course, there's an anti-injectable, anti-parasitic medication which can be used to treat mange. But again, yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one in the natural environment. So yeah, in controlled environments, a lot easier to treat. In the wildlife environments, a little bit more of a tricky one to try and manage. But yeah, lovely to see this impala. I know this area is pretty good along this riverbank. So we've got a few elephants here today. Lots of vervet monkeys like to hang out here. Bushbuck, we've got some bushbuck that often can be seen along this Olifants River. Lovely to see those bushbuck. No, there's probably some nice jackalberry trees here, so it could be a good reason why I've got a lot of animal activity here. Lots of animals coming down to feed on the jackalberry fruit. Perfect riverine tree species. keeping an eye out for that bushbuck of ours. Maybe any more birds just before we end the show would be pretty cool. We're sitting at a very good number of 26 birds for the day. So let's see if we can keep our eyes open for any more birds. Maybe have a bit of a scan around. Perfect riverine habitat. Maybe might be some more birds around. We've got our red-billed oxpecker from Aldonio. So that's pretty cool. Elephants are really enjoying the shade of the trees here. It's a great place to be on a hot summer's day. Dark mane lover, not a problem at all. Glad I could give a little bit of insight into mange. Yeah, game reserve management is definitely very important to pick up on things like this. I've seen mange before in impala, zebra, unfortunately, are so I'd say those are kind of zebra, impala, and jackal. I would say are two, and lions in some cases, few very species that are very susceptible to mange and that I have seen it most prominently in from time to time. Maybe kudu, but I haven't. It's very rare to see kudu with mange, but often you do see impala with mange. But it's my first time actually seeing a jackal with mange, so very unusual. But it would definitely make a lot of sense. This impala seems pretty chilled. Nice female. She's having a great Monday. Just relaxing there. Having a scan around, having a listen, what else is out there? I know baboons and rivet monkeys love these riverine paths. Get up to lots of mischief here. I've watched lots of baboon shenanigans taking place in this area. Just having a look at some of our other location, folks, to see what else is happening out there. If we've got any movement, any updates. Elephant, just crazy how easily these elephants blend in. Start flapping their ears, and you're like, oh, suddenly there's an elephant there. Whoop, looks like, what do we have? Is that a bee eater? Could be a little bee eater. Whoop. Could be a drongo. It could also be a greenbill. Perfect habitat for a greenbill. It's a little bird hopping around in the vegetation there. Quite an unusual place for these elephants to be, I must say. Although elephants don't necessarily like walking on uneven surfaces like rocky areas, but if they've already got a decent pathway going through, then they'll definitely make their way through. But the last couple of years, I've seen very interesting places where elephants do occur. So pretty crazy to see elephants roaming around in these thick, rocky areas. So it's a very good way to protect tree species if you're doing tree protection from elephants. Besides covering the trees in wire, you can also put lots of rocks around the base of these trees to protect them from the elephants. All right, why don't we head over to Lentore and see what is happening at one of our other locations. Sorry, folks, we've got some challenges with our cameras today, so I think I'll carry on hanging out here on the Olifants River. Good to see some greenery as well. Really enjoying seeing some greenery before the rainy season comes. So yeah, some of these areas next to the riverine are lucky that they have trees very specific to riverine kind of habitat, so there might still be a bit of nice thick green areas near these rivers, which is perfect habitat for a lot of species to come and feed during the day. Lovely jackalberry tree on the left hand side. Yeah, I do love jackalberry trees. They are perfect leopard trees. You can also see something's been feeding on this tree to our right. It seems like it's been ring barked. A lot of trees are also being ring barked at this time of year. Animals trying to substitute their diet by feeding on the bark of trees. All right, folks, let's go check and see what's happening at one of our other locations if signal permits. Oh, looks like we've got a cormorant. Looks like a reed cormorant we have here, just hanging out, enjoying the afternoons. It looks like a juvenile. Another bird to add to our list for the day. Yeah, so reed cormorant juvenile. Lovely to see those webbed feet. And yeah, when he turns into an adult, his eye color will generally change, become a bit more red and more jet black. But looks like it's having a good grooming session. So number 27 on our list for today, the reed cormorant. Keep an eye out here for some little terrapins near the water. If you're lucky, get some movement. Perfect little aquatic habitat. Maybe another hammerkop. Alrighty, folks. Well, it has been a lovely day with you here live at the waterhole. I look forward to seeing you same time, same place tomorrow. I hope you have a fabulous Monday, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow live at the waterhole. Have a fabulous day, folks.